Hello, everybody. Welcome back to this great event based on the Guidewire Cloud platform. We're going to have this third panel for the next half an hour, 45 minutes. So we have with us Gal Josenberg, that is a VP Product and Operation of Guidewire. Hi, Gal. Welcome back.
Hello. Nice to be back.
So, great to have you with us. We are also with François Gravel, VP of Development of Promutual Insurance based in Quebec, Canada. Welcome back, François.
Nice to be here.
Great to have you with us, folks. So this third panel is going to tackle a little bit more the strategic level of what would be, the impact of remote work. To be more precise, I'm trying to find the slide here, just a minute. So the cloud has triggered a shift within organizations, and offering them more capabilities and flexibility for remote work, such as nearshoring centers to enhance velocity of IT development. So there is a cultural shift. And there's a strategic way, there's a wave of how the market has evolved, and the pandemic has brought, more openness, because companies were stuck with a situation that they needed to find, orientation and ways and new ways to do things. And there's also technology that evolved, like the cloud version is bringing another parallel shift. And we're going to tackle this shift. So if I may ask, Gal, so we're going to have Eric coming with us, Eric Marcoux. Hey, Eric, how are you?
Hey, how are
Welcome
you?
back.
Thank you.
Pretty good. So Eric is with us. He's from Beneva Insurance in Quebec, Canada. He's a VP of development over there. I'm going to give his title more precisely later on. Whoops, excuse me for this. I've got my okay. So let's jump into the subject. So Gal, preparing for the Guidewire Cloud platform change management, with respect of the organizational shift created, by this kind of new era of cloud, what are the 3-5 things that a development team can do to prepare for a move to this new level of software of Guidewire Cloud?
It's a good question, right? So I think the number one thing they should be thinking of is, what are they going to bring over from legacy, self-managed, whatever other system, right? And I think a lot of people don't think through that enough, right? Some of our customers have 20 years of data, they have 10 years of code, they have processes, and these processes develop for a good reason. But now they're going to a whole other world. And so the first thing I would need to say is stop, pause, and assess what data you have that should not be moved across, what code do you have that should not be moved across, and what processes, right? Oh, we have this process that we do every week to tune the database. Well, guess what? You don't need to do that anymore. You're going to the cloud. So just really spend some time thinking about what stuff you will not bring over. The second piece I would say is
mapping out.
Oh, sorry. Yes, exactly right.
Mapping out.
Examine, map out every single thing you have and do, and make a conscious decision, should this move to the cloud or not?
Yes.
Number two, establish processes that are good for the cloud, especially if you're going to be distributed. Like, how are you going to communicate? What's your ticket system going to look like? How are you going to write requirements? We had to do this ourselves, by the way, at Guidewire, right? Like, can we move to test-driven requirements or business-driven requirements? So that's number two, is how are you going to function in the cloud? And if I could bring over one last thing, it would be some level of standardization, right? We used to be able to longer release cycles, everybody in the same building. You know, you could get away with like, well, everybody does things a little bit differently. Like you can't do that in the cloud anymore. You've got teams all around the world. You got to get quick releases. You got to be a little bit more standardized. And so step number 3 is what standards are you going to implement
Yeah.
to make your cloud journey successful?
Totally. So this kind of like, I mean, we're going from let's say Quebec to New York. I mean, without a map, we can reach New York if we start from Quebec. But I mean, we don't know necessarily in how much time and how much resources it's going to take. So knowing and having this kind of transversal cut of the context and to prepare, on the different pieces for the change, you're saying that this organizational shift could be let's say, more fluid in the journey. That's interesting. And if I ask François and Eric, within, this because I heard from you both, and we just heard François and Sébastien talk about what they did in this kind of shift. I mean, there's a kind of a earthquake in the market because you need to find the resources. You need to deliver, right, your project. And so you told me, Eric, that you had like people in Costa Rica, you had people in Brazil, you have people in Turkey, if I'm not Turkey, but Toronto, and yeah.
Close.
So I mean, this yeah. No, but Tunisia, you said that you had people. That's what I wanted to say. Thank you, Gal. I have one for you later on. So what's the take on what led you to adopt a nearshoring solution?
First,
Eric.
I would say that, yeah, do you hear me well?
Yes, we
Do
do.
you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Yes.
First, the pandemic has changed our lives. So it's probably one of the pros of the
Yeah.
pandemic, because before the pandemic, working from home was not a solution. And the pandemic has changed
Yeah.
our way of working in terms of businesses. And we've been working for 2 years and a half from home, and we're still working from home today. We call that hybrid work now. But why I say that, it's
Yeah.
we've been managing that kind of new way of working. So now having someone from Costa Rica, from Brazil, from Tunisia, from Toronto is not an issue, because it's like they were
Yeah.
at their home in Quebec. So except of the time zone, sometimes that may apply. There's no difference. And at the same time, in Canada, and I'm assuming it's the same in all the other countries, we have challenges by hiring new talents. So what do we do? We're trying to find talents where they are, and so they don't have to move to Quebec and work with us remotely. So that's part
Yeah.
of the game now, and we're now used to that. Maybe the one challenge we got is we speak French. Even if I speak English, we speak French. Our natural language is French, so we need to
Yeah. Sure.
adapt with a person that speaks another language. And security. Comituel and Beneva had challenges with security 2 years ago, so we've been improving a lot in many areas. We were very strong, but we're now stronger. So we need to be careful
Yeah.
about that when we work with persons from other countries.
Yeah, true. And on your side, François, what is the strategic thinking, of this cultural shift? Because I mean, you've told us earlier that there's a shortage. You told us that you need to bring the level of quality, let's say, developers or talent. What had brought you to adopt this nearshoring solution?
Yep. It's mainly for sure the pandemic situation that we face, like Eric's
Yeah.
just said, for sure. And the point is, the we had a challenge to have more personnel with the right skill sets, and
Yeah.
we've worked with partners that are already there doing work with offshoring employees that are they f- they work with us in our project when we hire them. So that started a bit with this, with there's some folks in Toronto, Montreal, and at some points they are just 3 hours, 9 hours ahead of us in car. But
Yeah.
if you work remotely with anywhere in the world, it this part doesn't we it doesn't care anymore. Only the time zone and maybe
Yeah.
the cultural shift of the people. So the main capabilities and enabler that we didn't have before, we had problems with security, with tooling sets, and a lot of things that we didn't have yet. We didn't add the capabilities to work efficiently in the world, and now we all have those tool sets and those enablers in our hands because of the situation of the pandemic and the talent
Yeah.
shortage that we all face, with the fact that we required personnel the more specialized than ever. With Guidewire platform, they need to know Java, Gozu, the Guidewire Cloud platforms, and the certifications. And now we want them to talk in French also. So it's really
Yeah.
difficult
Yeah.
to find out the right people, and also when you find the right skill sets, you need to be sure that the person fits with your company culture and your business ethics.
Totally, totally, and into this wave, Gal, the Guidewire Cloud platform, offered this flexibility. What is your view regarding the distributed teams? What's your mindset and the mindset of Guidewire? Because I mean, you've got folks everywhere, right?
Yeah. Guidewire's got development teams all over the world. We had that even before the pandemic. And to Eric's point, the pandemic just accelerated that, right? It made it clear to everyone we can work not just distributed, but also from home if needed. So we wholeheartedly support it. And it's not just, we have the same talent, shortage issues that everybody else does, right? It's hard to find people. So if you are willing to go all over the world, it's much easier. Plus, it just gives you coverage, right?
Totally,
I need operations people that can work 24/7 because our customers expect that. It's hard if I
totally.
was
That's
based
true.
completely just out of North America, that would be difficult. Instead, I can do a
Totally.
follow the clock strategy all over the world.
Yeah, it gives you it gives you power, and
Yeah.
power horse. So in this, I mean, what's your take, Gal? How does a client, is it like something that is like a way that everybody does? What's the context of the Guidewire clients in this perspective? I mean, we have Beneva and Promutuel of different size that are doing it. Is it like becoming a standard?
I'd say so. Yeah. I think, I don't know the exact percentage, but I would guess the overwhelming majority of our customers have remote teams of one kind or another. And some of them may still have, a heavy presence near headquarters, perhaps. But I'm not aware of.
Yeah,
I think just about every single customer that we have has distributed teams of some
yeah.
nature. That's just the reality of the modern world.
Because we've seen, this kind of this obligation to have the Guidewire certification. I mean, this does give a certain standardization worldwide. Where I mean, in this model of distributed team, it really helps because if I find someone in Quebec, Canada, and I find someone in Turkey, I mean, they have the same skill set, at least
Correct.
with the certification, right?
Correct.
But why was that thought? Why was Guidewire in this spectrum? Because they wanted to have this level of recognition of someone that has and could work with, like, globally. What was the strategy on that sense?
I mean, for our strategy, it's just we wanted to make sure that our customers have access to that talent pool, but that talent pool is certified. I mean, we I think I might have mentioned this in the earlier webinar, which is, listen, Guidewire is complex to configure. I mean, there's no way of getting around that. So you don't just need somebody with Java skills. You need somebody with Java and Guidewire skills. And we wanted to make sure that when our customers hire that, to your point, if they hire that person in Turkey or in Poland or in Malaysia or in Canada, they should know that that person has what they need, right, to get started. We can't certify French, but we can certify Guidewire knowledge.
Totally, totally. So, in this, pandemia accelerated the culture of companies were not ready. In all majority of companies didn't want to have this new era of remote work or work at home, and they were obliged. So today it's kind of becoming it accelerated the let's say the cultural shift, and we see now that Promutuel. I'm from Quebec City, and Promutuel is a traditional company with 180 years of existence. I find it quite impressive and satisfying because we're working together that have gone through this kind of cultural innovation. So François and Eric, what is the potential and future of remote development work within this wave? How do you see the future of organization and consequently their culture? Because it does has an impact.
Do you want to go, Eric?
Yeah, I can go. I think that it's I think that it's part of the transformation we are going through right now. So the challenge of hiring talents and also the retention of these talents and mobilization and keep them happy. Every company is having that, including the SIs we're working with. So I think that the model is evolving right now, and the pandemic has helped a lot. So and what I want to say by that is, in the past we've been asking for talents. They were working with us almost on site from the SIs. Now
Yeah.
they are more grouped together. I think that the development center, every SI is creating their own development centers and their own formulas right now, and with the technology and working remotely, the the it's not a big change for us. They are part of our teams. They work with my
Yeah.
talent person. So I think that they are changing the model to the retention and also so they can see the values of the enterprise and so on. And for us, we're just working differently. So we are adapting ourselves because also challenge on our side, and it's just a matter of finding the right way to work together, and then the magic is coming. So I think it's just a way to adapt the way we've been working, we're already there. It's just that it's quite recently, especially in Canada, that we have more development centers, but we're getting used to that now. So I think it's just a matter of adapting ourselves.
Good. Good. François?
Yes. And we talk a lot about the talent shortage, and this will not vanish in a year or two. This will stay there for a long time. So for that kind of situation and problems, you required multiple solutions to address this kind of situation. And for sure, the nearshoring is a promising options that it will not only be there, right? It's there right now, but it will only increase, I think, in the future. And all of the advancement in technology to make it easier and easier is there, and it will continue to develop.
Yeah.
And in a situation where there's a lot of situation where it's also cost efficient, and it is crucial to maintain the good synergy between your team, your culture about the business. It's important, I think, to have a strong cultural assessment of your company. When you integrate everybody from everywhere, everybody has their own culture, but we have to keep up the same value of your company there to make it live. And for us, it's kind of we want to have the best experience for our members, and we believe that it's the same with our employee. So we need to give them the best experience as it could, so they will be able to give that to our members. And that's the way that we want to work with all together, even if you are coming up from Turkey or Peru or anywhere.
Yeah, yeah, because it's I find it fascinating that if you look at Promutuel, you have about 28% of your workforce on the IT side that are from other countries that are coming to Quebec. I find it fascinating, you know. What would be your take, Eric, on the percentage of workers that you saw, you know, joining the team of Beneva? Do you have like an idea of what's the ratio, more or less, of people that you have from abroad? Do you have this
That's a good
perspective?
question. I would say maybe 10%, but it's not based on specific numbers, but it's growing.
Yeah, yeah.
So I can make that a fact. So, but that would be my guess if I have to double check by the number.
Okay. But Gal, if you look at Guidewire, I mean, you have like, I don't know, it's like, I don't want to miss my number. You're like 3,000 employees, more or less? Or 5,000?
3,300 or so at last count. I think 3,300.
Okay.
Sorry,
And,
I might be off a little bit.
okay. And so, I mean, if you look at, okay, you're spread all over the world, but I mean, international, your 500 clients are all around. But have you seen like a big growth? I mean, the pandemic is bringing the acceleration of remote work. And so consequently, you are looking and you're hiring people from different cultures. I mean, how do you, how does Guidewire keeps his culture? I mean, Francois says that, you know, the values are the base rock of you know, their culture. Well, how does Guidewire, I mean, consolidate and stay in line with their values? I mean, how do you evolve within this strategic change, you know?
So, and remember, we were very distributed even before the pandemic, but we had offices everywhere that people go to. And in that case, it was easier to maintain the culture. We had executives, we had teams that would go back and forth between the various
Yeah.
offices. So there's a variety of ways to maintain culture. That way, when you are still meeting face to face on a regular basis, the pandemic actually was really
Yeah.
difficult for us because everybody was all of a sudden working from home, and so they're not interacting with one another. They're not
Yeah.
becoming part of the culture. And I'll be honest with you, we did struggle a little bit during the pandemic with that. And now that we're back, we're trying to reinstitute what we had before, which is even if you are going to work from home, we still want you to come to an office, let's say once a quarter, to meet with your
Right.
team, to align on goals,
Yeah.
which is, you know, so great. Work remotely if that's the case, if your job is remote, but still come in like once a quarter, once a half. You know, teams should do offsites together once a year, because without that,
Yeah.
people can be very productive working from home. But if you want them to be integrated into the culture, they still need to meet up once a year, once a quarter. Something's got to happen like that.
So, so if we look at, you know, this cultural shift or organizational shift within, you know, the acceleration with the pandemic, excuse me, I'm talking Portuguese and English, of adoption, you know, of this new era, and knowing that if you want to implement and keep your values and culture, the suggestion, what would be the suggestion to the folks that are listening to us that, you know, everybody's kind of the same situation where they're looking for talent, there's a shortage, also they want to profit some benefits that international countries can offer, like wage that are maybe more interesting? I mean, there's different reasons, but what would be, like Sébastien Martouret from Promutuel is coming to Lima, is coming to Brazil to meet the team, to say hi, as you say, Gal, touch the hand, say hello. Francois, what do you suggest to kind of help organizations, because the pandemic have made people without roots. They were like, and there was a lot of job change. People said, "Oh, I'm going to change jobs." You feel less attached. What would be your suggestion?
Um, I would say exactly what we are doing with Sebastian. It's really important to keep the roots, to make the people get together. We need to be. We are social to creator in the end, and we need to be in contact. And it's not because you are making a land party activity or anything like that. It will help a bit, but we all face the fact with the pandemic, with everybody's working from home after a 6 month period. It's crazy. It's crazy hard, and we were in this together for almost 2 years. So it's really important to break the process, and to have events where people can meet, share. And it's so important because in the end we are all humans being, and when we face challenges, when we face problems, when we face some confrontation with others, it's when we have solid bound with each others that everything goes more smoothly, and the teams find out solution all together. So it's
Yeah.
really important to create those bounds and those synergies with everybody, because again, we may work in IT, we may work in code. It's really mathematical, but we are still human beings.
Totally, totally. And Francois, what would be your take on this? Excuse me,
Eric,
Eric.
Eric.
Yeah, Eric.
Francois, I now have your name. So I completely agree with Francois. Maybe the things that I can add is constant communications. So it's not always possible or easy to go on site, especially let's say Brazil or Costa Rica. But the technology is there. So and the agility is helping for that. We work in agile development methodology. So every day they have their scrums between them. They have the retro, the review, demo, the PI planning. We are doing one-on-one meetings on a regular basis with my leaders. I'm doing a meeting once per month with all the persons of my vice presidency. So constant communication, always be in touch and available and there. And
Yeah.
they can be anywhere in the world. There's just a time zone when they are in a different time zone that may be a challenge. Otherwise,
Yeah.
that would be my take. Adding over what Francois shared, that I completely agree with Francois. Even if my name is Eric.
Yeah.
Justin, can I
Yes.
add something? Can I add something to what Francois? Oh,
Totally.
sorry, Eric. Just kidding. That was a joke. Said about so just what we learned is also about exactly to what Eric was saying. Methods of communication. We learned that written communication is great for documenting things, and then you need to be very detailed. But it's not good for
Yeah.
working things out. And we had to tell people, like, get off email. Like, if you need to work out something, get on the phone or get on Zoom or
Yeah.
whatever means you use. But we had to teach people, like, there's certain ways of communicating that work and certain that don't. Like, written is good for documenting requirements. Spoken, verbal, much quicker communication is good for working them out. So just again, it's
Yeah.
just one of those little things that you don't think about, but it makes remote work a lot more workable.
And that's so
Totally.
true, because I would just add to that. It's so true because when we we talk about the point where we go to the Guidewire Cloud, it's something that's, again, we are in face of the fact that it's Guidewire now that is working with our infrastructure. It's kind of our baby there. It's our data and everything. and at a certain point we need to talk with the tickets and by written forms, but at other parts we need to talk all together, and that's why to have your technical account manager very near you always, it's really really important to have the access to talk with everybody. That's so important, the communication part.
True, true. And often, what happened, like if you have, let's say, challenges with someone, and you write your emotions, a lot of time we make this errors that we write our emotions in an email where the interpretation can be so many things, and often we're wrong because the tone is not necessarily the same as the person writes. So yeah, and remote work and the flexibility that the Guidewire Cloud platform brings, because it brings more flexibility with having remote work, and also the Guidewire certification is another reason that gives this orientation to be remote, because now you have this flexibility to someone in Turkey or someone in Quebec has the same expertise. But what I take about what you're saying, folks, is that communication is the main thing in this cultural shift about remote, and being sometimes, if the organization can afford or accept to have people that can be invited to an event, or that can come to the head office, or to come give a hug or shake a hand, is what's going to keep this foundation of Eric was saying, the values of your business. So guys, that's it. That was amazing. Thank you very much. I mean, that was a great third panel with Gal, Eric, and Francois, and George. I'm joking. There's no George. And so I think today we tackled three very interesting subjects. Maybe we can bring along Sebastien to wrap up, but we started in why did you folks decided to go into this kind of difficult, challenging journey, because it does have a change on the organization and you need to adapt, because you're starting from version 1, 8, 9, and then you want to go to the cloud, and then it is imposing some different processes, and you need to look at this, and as Gal was suggesting, to map it out, to strategically know how to go from one point to the other. If you don't have a map, you will reach New York, but maybe in the between you're getting get lost. So planification, organization, and also to be able to deliver, this beautiful platform that I see that the voice of the customer, you're kind of, and nobody's paid here, nobody is paid to say this. You're saying this because you are experiencing with the solution and you're very satisfied. But you're saying, look, if you want to have the capacity, we need to think strategically. You need to think strategically on how you can bring this horsepower, this manpower, this brain power to deliver your projects, right? And that was the third panel. And the second panel will more how can you operationalize? How you can make it happen? How can you make it landed to have this distant development center? And this is where Sebastien is his two hands into the Guidewire project to make it happen. So these three panels were able to tackle those three subjects, and I would like to say thank you very much for your presence. Thank you, Gal. Thank you, Francois. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Sebastien. I hope that you had fun, and I wish that we're going to see us real soon. Be aware that all of this session is recorded, and we're going to do post editing, meaning that every question and answer is going to be encapsulated in video capsules that will be put on the iBrain library, and that every people from home and their office around the world, you're going to be able to have access and distribute to your peers if you would like them to hear out those great guys that have amazing expertise. So thank you very much and have a great day. Cheers.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Yep. Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Take care. So everybody at the audience, thank you very much. As I was just saying to you, you're going to be able to receive shortly a recording of this session. If in the meantime you would like to reach us to ask questions, if you would like to have more information about iBrain or Beneva or Promutuel, please feel free. I can give you the coordinates of the people that were with us. So on that, we're going to see you. Our next event is going to be on June 15th. We're going to be at that moment from Argentina, Rosario. We're going to present to you our new office, and also we'll have speakers that will come and talk to developers, analysts, architects. We're going to come and talk to you about tips and tricks. How can I develop my CV? How can I maneuver my interviews? How can I be part of this community of iBrain to enhance my chance of having a contract and a job with a Canadian or US companies? And also, we're gonna have some speakers. Sandra Anderson, that is our HR guru, is gonna tell you, okay, how do you express yourself? How do you search the jobs? How can you present yourself? And Sébastien Martourel, who's from Promutuel, will come and present also what we're doing at Promutuel. So we're inviting all Guidewire specialists to come at this event and join us, and also all other IT specialists that are interested to meet us and to find the great jobs that we can offer. So on this, thank you very much. As we say in Brazil, obrigado, ciao, ciao, boa giorni, ciao, ciao.